It's just I do too much. Like my friend, I was talking to my friend, I was like, yo.
And then we must do another video where we talk freestyle. Yeah. Rhyming.
Yeah, I confess, Father, I confess, 'cause I've been living wrong.
Yo, what's up, man? It's your boy TUSKO to the day. Mr. Flow So Good, Mr. Skip of my what. Y'all already know, man. We're back with you guys with another YouTube video. And, you know, as we began last week, I'm not alone. I'm back again with the OG, none other than Mr. Salvin. What did you call yourself last week?
Smooth operator, man. It keeps on elevating, you know.
Bars and bars.
Bars and bars. It is the original, realistic MC that's ever done it. I'm the original pioneer. I forgot. I call myself not an OG. I think it was OT. I forgot what the OT stands for.
Yeah. But yeah, we're back with another YouTube video, man. And today we're not necessarily talking hip hop. You know, when I sit down with Mr. Salvin or anybody else that's, you know, in hip hop or an OG or that carries certain knowledge, I might sit down with people that just discuss any topic. So today we're not necessarily talking hip hop. We're talking the topic of the day that has, you know, the whole of South Africa speaking, the whole world actually talking about it. Basically President Donald Trump coming out and tweeting some things about South Africa, and the South African government reacting to it, and so on and so forth. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Basically coming out to basically accuse South Africa of expropriating land without compensation, and on top of expropriating land without compensation, basically saying, you know, white farmers are being killed. And basically this is what Trump came out and said. And it got a lot of people talking, basically saying, where does Trump get these claims, and so on and so forth. Basically, I think where he got it, because, you know, I don't know where Trump gets these, you know, I don't think he knows the right people to listen to, right? So he basically,
from what we saw, we're checking out some other videos, and we checked that guy Tucker. What's his name?
Yeah, that's where he got it. I think that's where he got it, because that's where AfriForum went when they went to the stage to speak about. So they got it from Tucker Carlson, who is basically, according to me, anyway, personally, not necessarily the best person to get information from, but this is what Tucker Carlson actually came out and said.
We've got an exclusive investigation for you tonight. The president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has begun, and you may have seen this in the press, seizing land from his own citizens without compensation because they are the wrong skin color. That is literally the definition of racism. Racism is what our elites say they dislike most. Donald Trump is a racist, they say. But they paid no attention to this at all.
For me, this is the first thing, right? So he says South African land seizures have begun, right? Which is not true. Right? There's no land that's been taken from anyone. The government hasn't taken, you know, any land from anyone. The only thing that is happening right now is that there's still a debate going on whether the Constitution should be amended in order to allow for land expropriation, or should the land be expropriated by basically, you know, calculating what the farmers have benefited from the government versus what they've done to develop the land.
You know,
okay, so this is where I believe Trump got this the information that is running with. Right. So just sharing those statements, what are your thoughts?
I think the guy who's actually speaking here is racist, ignorant, and doesn't understand. I mean, he says that the farmer murders, farmers are being murdered simply because of their skin color, so therefore that is racist. And he makes it as if these murders are part of the expropriation of land, as if they are one thing, as if part of trying to reallocate or place land to what we are trying to resolve as far as land issue to the black people is a race issue that has caused the minority of white people who are farmers to be murdered. And that is not true. That's how he's putting it there. And we should not be shy. We should not even try to sugarcoat that the person giving this report is biased, is racist, is pro-white, he's an extremist. So he's trying to give information that looks takes information, hears what we have done, and hears what, oh, there are murders. Where does he even get the fact that there are
obviously, I think we all know where he gets it, because he's basically echoing what AfriForum has been screaming for the past, I don't know what. And the thing about it, for me, the thing about it is, first of all, Trump needs to find better people to listen to. Like, I watch a lot of American right-wing news because I'm more or less a conservative myself in how I think. But Tucker Carlson is the worst person to listen to about anything.
When you listen to that, I'm not following that much of Tucker and things like that. Only now when you brought it to my attention. Just looking at it, without having to say, I'm black, I'm watching this white guy talk about, you know, just from an intelligence point of view, just from a human level, you can check that you need to do a bit more research. Where does he get it from? Because when you listen to that, he says he spoke to some co-hosts or the people that would be confirming what's going on in South Africa.
And they're not South Africans, by the way.
And they're not South Africans. And he continues to just elaborate what they said, and it doesn't show them as much as he's on screen.
Okay, so
you know, how can you be sure?
So this is the first thing about him that you must always know. If you are of a point of view, I think, I don't know what kind of white people he caters to, white people that watch his stuff, but according to me, I don't think they are necessarily the most intelligent, simply because what he does is people will come on his show, and then when they have a condescending view, he'll shut them off. So he'll ask them a question, a biased question, and then be like, and then not allow them to answer, and then say, you see, I'm right, and then he cuts them off.
What we're trying to say is that he has an agenda,
and
he understands the power of media, and he has a certain message that he wants to put across, and he's using that platform to put it through. And the fact that these land seizures have started is wrong, and the fact that he feels that he even calls Cyril Ramaphosa a racist president.
I mean, that's for me what bothers me the most, because it's like, that's the first thing that I have a problem with, right? People around the world are running around believing this, first of all. And my problem with it is, they are believing it because it's been, for me, that's what I see it as the definition of white privilege, right? When a white person says something is true, and if it's saying it against a black person, then it must be accurate. This guy just told blatant lies. Land seizures. South Africa has started with land seizures. What proof does he have to say that land seizures have started? Dololo. Nothing. There's no proof whatsoever that land has been taken. Trump is already fighting rumors that he's a white supremacist. And then he listens to the most white supremacist group to come out of South Africa. AfriForum is racist, we know this. And, you know, he continues to talk about the disproportionate killings of farmers, right? That, you know, farmers are being killed, and they're being killed because of skin color. This is what he's talking about. But when you look at the stats, right? The stats actually say that South Africa's farm murders at this point are at the lowest point that they've been in the past 19 years. So essentially what that means is, in 2001, if you look at the stats, in 2001, that's when the most farm attacks happened, and there was no conversation about land expropriation or nothing. And in 2018, right, of course, you know, they've gone up and down, just like any other graph does. It goes up and down, but more or less, it's way less than it's ever been. It was in 2014. Now that's attacks, right? And then if we're talking about killings, they're even lower, right? But he is coming out to say that, oh, they're being killed because they're white. And I'm saying, but it's something that has always happened, even before these racial tensions actually existed. And on top of that, it's lower than it was when there was no racial tensions. Which essentially means it's got nothing to do with race. Unfortunately, South Africa is a country where there is high rates of crime. And if you're a farmer and you live, you know, in the outskirts of the country, generally crimes like this happen, and they've always happened. It's not like it's something new. But AfriForum are trying to use this situation to actually come out and say, oh yeah, whites are being killed. They're trying to find anything they can say in order to discredit a black government, to discredit black people, so that the rest of the world can come out and side with them and say, yeah, black people are hooligans, without any substantial facts. This guy has said nothing of factual content. The AfriForum stats, on the other hand, even their stats disagree with them. Their stats show that, like, farm murders have been steady, right? That's what their stats show, and they're only recent.
AfriForum went on a lobby all over the world. It seems like they only appealed to extreme white people who will listen to their messages, because even when Trump is sending a tweet, it is after there's been such a hula baloo about it that people like Tucker have already spoken about it. Then it gets to the president after a lengthy buzz has been created by a source which seems to discredit what we are trying to do.
We know that AfriForum stands for Afrikaner Forum, so they only stand for white people in South Africa. They don't stand for minorities. They must stop lying.
See, when they hear a word like Africa, they think it's Africa.
No.
It represents all of
Afrikaner Forum.
See, they don't know
now, as a president of a whole free world, if you're gonna wake up and listen, I mean, it's such an embarrassment for America that this guy has access to ambassadors. He has access to, you know, he could even call Cyril Ramaphosa, because Cyril Ramaphosa speaks for South Africans. He could speak to Cyril Ramaphosa directly. This is a guy that could send investigators to go look at the matter, right? He started the conversation right. I'm watching what's happening in South Africa. That would have been okay. But to continue to reiterate stupidity and all these other things was just stupid. Because you're like, you have access to all these things, and you've just, as a whole president of a free world, come out and say something that is wrong.
It seems like we're living in a time where even America knows that we are rising. So therefore, any spoiled kid who used to be the coolest one, who used to be the one with all the biggest toys, now sees what was really something to not be even recognized. Now they want to discredit the growth or the maturity of something that they've always undermined. It seems like the kind of slur, the kind of stupidity that comes from, whether we call them extremists or whatever, but Trump is a white person. It's easy for him to fall into that kind of segment, that it's typical. You are white, you know. The fact that they don't even understand that Afrikaner is Afrikaner.
For me, it's like, you don't. This is the thing where I say white supremacy, because like I'm like, because they are white or white privilege, you don't even question the stats. Those statistics, all statistical bodies, reputable statistical bodies in South Africa, have been saying that these stats that you are coming with can't be substantiated. Okay,
but
the stats are not correct.
Let's get to the heart of the matter.
Nobody questions it.
Let's get to the heart of the matter. Why even
because they're white
is lobbying and going overseas and all that stuff. When they took the land, they understand the kind of wealth that has been created here. In fact, even Afrikaners and white people, meaning English, have been fighting for this land because of wealth creation. Even in the apartheid era, there were still factions, there were still separations, because they wanted a fair share of that. If you look at AWB, that's what they were talking. If you look at any extreme white forum or whatever you call it, they've always wanted to be separated, have their own banking system, their own farming, their own wealth creation kind of thing. This is tapping into that. And they know that, I mean, why go everywhere? It's like me and you, we own a section of the township. Then we have an argument. Then you go to Zola, you go to Pretoria, like, look what he's doing to me. Why can't me and you?
I mean, and it's crocodile tears. There are more black people that have died from violent crimes in South Africa. There are more black people that are being killed in households because of crime than there are white people and than there are white farmers. But because, you know, it's a black government, because it's black people telling you that these stats are false, oh, the black people can't be listened to. Let's listen to this white people that are coming with a story that is there.
Now, I'm asking myself, let's look at the expropriation of land on its own, the complexities of it. South Africa is trying to resolve a land issue by saying, are you aware, as a white person, predominantly because their land is owned by them. That your forefathers gave you, this generation now, this wealth. And now there are people suffering for generations while this is in your fingerprint, in your hand. And we're trying to find balance. And we recognize the complexities that if it is without compensation, how do we find a balance to say it was stolen? Now we're trying to get fairness into people that the land should belong to. But now there's issues that the land that could be either bought or taken, what is it going to be used for? Because it is common sense that if you come to my land and my land has a mill in it, are you going to take over the mill in the land that is fully functional, generating wealth? What are you going to do with that? Are we buying this mill off you? Are you giving it to us and you just move out of the country? What solution are we coming up with? That's how they're trying to say we are trying to find solutions. That's why land seizures or exposure, the whole thing we're talking about hasn't actually happened yet, because there's still a way of, or a process of having to see how we do this thing.
Yeah.
So how do you come up and say?
And don't you feel like it's kind of like heightening like racial tensions? Because like I saw a lot of people that were upset about that, because it's like basically saying they're killing me when nobody is actually killing me. I mean, like for me, it was like, and so like black people have started to feel like, because that's what the South African government was saying, like that. Look, this is heightening racial tensions, because black people,
it will heighten racial tensions.
People are now like, okay,
because it goes. I mean, this is something that has been shifted under the carpet. I mean, media is the one that's giving it to us, although it has always been in our hearts. You know, you bring in something that is the main source of how apartheid was. It always has been land. Always, when you step and you colonize a place, land is the first thing that you take over. So even if it's 300 years old or whatever, you still it is a racial thing.
Yeah.
You cannot take it away that it is, because it was stolen, it was taken by force, it was not done right. How do you say we're taking it back right? Is there a right way of taking it back?
I think personally, right, and just my own, you know, small personal opinion, I think if the South African government approaches this issue with an idea of, okay, let's take the land, but let's not redistribute it to black people only. So let's redistribute it to whites, coloreds, Indians, and you know, all the other races. I think then that's a better way to approach it, right? Instead of just saying, okay, we'll just take the land and then we'll, because this, and I think that's what the ANC is trying to do, right? Let's give it to everybody, because they say they want to distribute it equitably. Now, the whole thing of how that is going to be done and so on and so forth is the bigger issue. And as you can clearly see, white people don't want it to happen. Right? Not all white people, but because a lot of, some of those white people that, you know, were fact checking like Donald Trump, were white people from South Africa also. So white people were fact checking them and, you know, basically saying those things. So there are those white people that really believe that the land issue mustn't be touched at all, and then there are those white people that believe that, look, this is an issue, it must.
The land issue, it not only does farming, it just goes to the whole what the land gives to extension of humankind. There's minerals, there's food commodities, there's, I mean,
yeah, my whole thing about it is, what I would say about it is, like, the South African
how would you spread it equally?
The South African government needs a better plan, because you can see African Forum planned this propaganda thing, okay, and for them to win the propaganda campaign thing, they also need to start planning their own media things, because if they don't do that, African Forum's narrative is going to run all around the world. I mean, I literally met these kids from the States who came to our church to visit, and they were just talking about the fact that as they were moving through the country, they were so shocked to see that it's so peaceful and people are so happy, because according to them, according to what they've been seeing in the news, you know, black people and white people are just killing each other. Also, you have to also know that there's a huge difference between what Trump says and what Trump does sometimes, right? Like, he'll go and say, I hate Putin, blah, 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 and then he'll go and have a meeting with Putin. He'll go and say, South Africa, blah, 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 and then he'll go meet with the South African. No, that's how it operates, really. Yeah. He'll go say, I'll bomb Kim Jong-un.
I'm not saying he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But that's such a snaky way. It's so serpenty. Like, you know,
listen,
I discredit you, then I'm sitting with you in the table. What is that?
Like, I don't know, maybe
that's politics, whatever.
That's a negotiation strategy, but that's one thing I've noticed about it. Like, he'll wake up and say, I'll bomb North Korea tomorrow, and then tomorrow he is having a summit with them. So, you never know. That could just be a tweet of, that's just a tweet.
About the land issue, man.
Yeah. But you guys leave us your comments in the comment section, letting us know what you think about this topic. What do you guys think of Donald Trump's tweets? Do you guys think that they're right? Do you guys think that they're wrong? Are you a white farmer? Let us know what you think is going on, or what's going on out there. Are you an ordinary black person in South Africa? Let us know what your thoughts are on that. And, you know, in general, we just want to hear your comments on the whole topic of land expropriation, what you guys think about it, what you guys think about the so-called farm murders. You know, given the stats that we've shown you, the stats that AfriForum is presenting, the stats that we showed you, by the way, are from South African Police Service. So you guys tell us which ones you believe and which ones you think are correct. What do you guys think of Tucker Carlson? You know, just let us know what you think about this whole topic.
Speak your mind, man.
Speak your mind, man.
Yeah.
And definitely subscribe, man. You know what to do. Awesome. Now wait, Emma Pili. I know you want to go, but click that red button and subscribe and put some respect on a younger name, man. Awesome.